Wonderful. Okay. Hello. Welcome to our illuminated archetype chart readings. Today we have 5 wonderful women with us who have graciously, hopefully excitedly, given us their charts and access to all of their secret information. So we are in the transit of the 12 right now, which is the gate of caution, and there are no secrets now. We are now in the realm of knowing everything about y'all. So I hope you're not nervous, and thank you for letting us look at your chart and see into your soul. Hopefully, it goes well today, but we shall see. We shall see. Okay, so let's pull up the charts that we are going to be reading. And Bella, I didn't organize them or order them. So can you remind me who's first? You said Tracy, Angelica? Just remind me. Because I'm ordering right now. I can't hear you because you're muted.
Tracy, Angelica, Katherine,
Karen and
and
Jackie.
Jackie.
Perfect. Yep. Thank you. Okay, let's get started then. Wonderful. So the first chart we're going to take a look at is Tracy's. Tracy is a 4-6 emotional manifesting generator. She has the right angle cross of service. The archetypes that are in that are the discoverer, the perceiver, the vital, and the mountain. And today we are going to be focusing on her 41.5, which is in her vocation sphere or her core, which is also called the core wound. And so this is in a 5th line, and you're going to see it here. So this is an Aquarius gate in the 12th house, and the originator is situated in the root center, which is the pressure center. And for Tracy, hers is defined. So consistent energy, her energy, this is not where she is absorbing and taking in from the outside world. She actually has the complete 5818 channel, which defines her spleen, and then the 1949, which defines her solar plexus. So we've got a lot of activations here, only 2 centers open, so there's quite a bit of definition. The 41 does happen to be a hanging gate. So what that is going to mean is that it's going to be searching and seeking for gate 30. So 30 is the fire starter. So the 41 is anticipating a new feeling, a new emotion. And so it's looking for that. Because Tracy, you have all this definition and you have already a gate that connects to the solar plexus, you might not feel that pull, that need to call in a lot of that 30 energy because you already have a flow going with the 19, that gate of needs and revolution, reaction. We have that energy here, very tribal energy. So the 41 that you have in your vocation has a 5th line. This is the line of guilt. That's the core wound. And so what's going to happen here is there's going to be a pull, a pressure to start something, to feel something new, to experience something different. And maybe in that anticipation or in that desire or in that need, feeling the guilt around maybe what you took initiative on or where you went, or not exactly sure how it is going to play out, but I'm assuming that there is a lot of energy around that 12 that is going to play into things, because again, you booked during the transit of the 12, we're reading the 41, but we can't help but see that probably the 12 is making impact and influencing what you're experiencing in that 41. So this is a throat gate expression. You have that whole channel with the 1222, so it's an expression of emotional energy. And so tone of voice is very crucial and critical here. We call this archetype the prophet, and it is going to bring through that wave, bring through that emotion. Were you mentioning that in your line of work, you work with the emotions? Was that you? Did you want to give a little background information and maybe intention? And then Bella can come in and kind of share what you said in the intake form. What do you do? Who are you? Oh, you're the photographer, right? Yes.
Yes, I'm the photographer. So, but I'm also doing work helping people pretty much discover who they are at the soul level and of embodiment. And the reason that I was looking at this gate is I tend to have I am a seeker and an experience seeker, but a lot of times I'm feeling a lot of start and stop. But I also have so much fire in my astrology chart, and so I'm an Aries, and so much energy going forward that then I get frustrated with the minutia of figuring it out. I can get into the big picture too much and have too much visionary energy. And I feel that pressure to move forward. And I think it's just this seeking a way of expressing myself, like what is going to be the way to express all of the experiences that I have, taken in myself and all the learning that I've taken in.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. That clarifies a lot of things, especially when you have a lot of activations in your throat wanting that expression. You don't have, you're a 4/6, there's not a lot of that first line details exploration. The 17 is generally big picture. Anyways, 6 line is very much big picture, futuristic. 41's looking for the future as well. So when it comes to the details, that's not your ballgame, that's not your thing. So to have an ally, to have people, fractal team that's going to help you sort out the details so that you can move forward more seamlessly is what's going to help you not feel as much of that frustration, which is the keynote for the manifesting generator. The generators, we're feeling that frustration because I just want to move forward. And you've got the 52 minus the 9, which is all about the details and that focus. So again, there's a lot of energy in your design, which points to let's not focus on the details, but we kind of need them to get things rolling, to get things moving. So I can see where there's that dilemma for you. And I love that you have the 1858 channel and you're a photographer, because it just makes for an amazing eye for detail and an eye for what looks right, what would be great, what should we fix, what little thing is off. And you're like a master of frequency to also know what might they be feeling? How can I help them open up? The 12 is also great about opening people up. So if you want to move forward, you kind of need to know you may want to move forward, but everyone else needs to catch up too. So we can't rush the process or rush the people or rush the things. We kind of need to feel into how do we approach the situation so that we can move forward towards what we want to get, what we want to go towards, because approach is huge. It's your SQ. It's about being sensitive to the needs of others. If we're going to move forward together, you care about that. You're a 4/6. Got to move forward together. I can't just be the one moving forward. Got to bring my team with me. Got to bring you with me. So really knowing, what do I need to say to move them? What do I need to say to speak to their soul? What do I need to say to open them up? That's what the 12 is going to do. I'm going to open you up. I'm going to speak to the part of you that wants to come forward, that wants to come out. And so allowing the expression of that so that you can use your creative spark to really capture that, and you can use your voice and your presence to draw it out so that we can bring it forward, which is probably the new thing that wants to be expressed. So you care a lot about, who the person is as an individual, but however, there's probably something new that you're honing in on, and you're like, I want to bring through this side of you. Let's bring it out, because this is going to make for more of that expression of you. So I think that that's a gift that you have. Bella, you want to come in? I think.
Yes, I feel like you were speaking to the things that are in the intake. And I also saw that you were unsure how to work with the shadow of fantasy. So I wanted to hear, how do you feel like that shadow is playing out? Or is it just that you feel like that word in your chart doesn't really make sense?
Yeah, I've really had a hard time with that word because, I mean, when I first heard that word, I tend to be so much more of a realist. I actually have a very practical nature and come from a very grounded place. So I wasn't really sure about the fantasy part of that. I still find it kind of confusing, especially how it relates to that particular sphere of vocation. So if you could speak to that, that would help me a lot.
Okay, so what I see in your chart, yes, you are Aries, and you also have your Mars there are some of those closer planets that are in fire signs for you. What really stands out to me, if we would think about the wheel, is that you have a lot of Virgo and a lot of Pisces. So you have that axis that is really highlighted, and your ascendant is also Virgo. So in your life, you come into a Virgo world because that was on the eastern horizon in the moment you're born, and Ashley was speaking to that 1858 that's also is very grounded and very detailed and seeing the patterns and all that. So you are going to be somebody, I believe, that is grounded, and there's also this potential to go beyond, which is all the Pisces that you have on the other side of the chart. I see that kind of more of your magic, to be able to bring in the spiritual, was beyond. You also have that 25.6, which is on the cusp of Aries and Pisces, which is that acceptance and that innocence. And I feel like that is partly where you bring people back to their individuality, to their innocence. Like you said, you just want people to feel natural and themselves, and then you take a photo, you do a portrait of them when they come back to that sense, to that state. And that is also looking at your life's work being in the 8th house. There's a transformative process where you allow people to become their individual self, their spark in Aries. Like I really feel like you're doing that. And you are probably seeing them first with that 17.4. You're seeing them first from the heart, and then you're helping them become that using the tools of the Pisces Virgo. So there are some tools that are really practical, and there are some tools that are spiritual and that go beyond. I feel that when you look at that 41.6, we always have to know that before it becomes your vocation, it's an imprint from the lineage where it has been the core wound of the lineage. So there is something in your lineage with a 41 where we know that they have not necessarily been able to manifest things into form. And I think that when you speak aside from the photography, you're like, oh, I have so many books or so many things, I start so many projects. Yeah, that would be partly that 41. The 41, connecting it back to the body graph, it lives in the root center, and it says, I have the fuel for experience. And if you have the fuel, but you actually don't really put the fuel into a machine or into something, then it's just fuel. So it feels like there is something in your lineage. It could be close. You probably see something with your mom, with your mother and your grandmother, and even on the like both feminine and masculine kind of line. But it could also be thousands of years ago in parallel timelines. Like it doesn't only have to be close. These are people that have had energy, but they have not necessarily had the power or the circumstances or like whatever the reason been to really put it into form. And then because there has been that 5th line, there has been the understanding, the perspective of what needed to be done, what solutions needed to be made, but somehow not being able to put it into form. So I think that you have a little bit of that. It kind of stays as an energy, not into form, but you have found more than 15 years ago this process where you're actually doing it. And with that 12 that Ashley was mentioning twice in your Pearl sequence, which is part of how you're here to create value in the world, you're here to be a little cautious what it is that you are putting your energy into. And that's also why I believe that some of the things, you have this pure manifesting generator channel. A few things, you're actually here to try them out. You lean in as a manifesting generator, and then it's not that interesting anymore. And then it's okay to lean out. I think that that's okay. I would be way more concerned that you were perpetuating the core wound of the family if you told me that you didn't have anything that is coming into form. And maybe you were saying, oh, everybody has lent me money and I have so much, I have the business plan, I have the ideas, I'm not able to make it concrete. And then that 5th line would be like, oh, these kind of complicated relationships with guilt and blame, and it's never coming into form. She seems great, but she's actually not. Then you would be perpetuating the core wound. I think it's really good what you're doing. You have something that you are a master in that vocation in the 5th line. It's very kind of futuristic. You're working with transformation work and brand photography. Like, yeah, that's the 41. It's completely Aquarian leadership. And at the same time, you're kind of being cautious. I think that maybe you need to be a little bit more cautious. So looking at the Pearl and the culture, you're not here to have a million people around you. You're here to be supported on an everyday basis by a team that is from 3 to 15 people, not more. Like you are actually 4-6, and as I'm a 4-6 too with a third line culture, it feels really good to have 5 to 15 people because we can kind of keep track. They don't have to be physically even with us, but there can be the editor that you send it to. It can be, you live in Hawaii, like it can be, it's part of the network. It's part of the core team that is connected to each other. So you need a team of people that support you. And it's as a 4-6, that is small enough to be able, like I asked Ashley before, oh, was Mary on the community call? Because I know that she's usually in the geometry of every day in the 3 to 15 people, and suddenly she hasn't been there. And then I keep track of that. So as a 4-6, it's really good that the people that you connect with, it's not too big of a group. And now I'm speaking in like how you create money and value. You're going to know much more people than that, but people that are coming in and out on a daily, weekly basis. So creating a team that support you, that support your vision, your mission, that 6 line in the 56, like your storytelling needs to be supported by other people that see the same vision. And that's every time that you have something that goes kind of from fantasy into form, you need to have a support team for that. And then you're going to have, this is similar to Ashley, with a pearl. She has a 2nd line pearl. You need to have a few kind of closer partnerships that are there where you can kind of really go more to the core of it. Okay, like with that 12.2, you're here to have those close partnerships with people that can really recognize you. I think your marriage is one of these partners that see your purity, that see what you're bringing to the world. And you've also chosen there to not have a bunch of children in the picture. It's like, you probably have that relationship with your dog. You probably have it with your husband. That is for your legacy. That is something that's going to be very important for you. The people that see you a little bit more naked than everybody else. And I feel like that goes right back if you go in that pathway of individuation, looking at your attraction, the 25.6. I mean, you are here to walk in the world at this age now that you're coming down to the 3rd phase, the role modeling phase. You're here role modeling in a sense in your relationships. And in a sense, it's just to say, it's the knotting your core wound too. It's like whatever happened before, when we are here in the moment being initiated by life, and everything that might happen to us is an initiation into more of just knowing that we are in the right place at the right time. And that 25, there's probably some things in life that could have made you at this time not speak in the world. The 12 can be very cautious, and the 41 can be very much in fantasy. So I don't know your background whatsoever, but seeing that attraction sphere, knowing you have a 6 line in that attraction, knowing you have the 25, I know that life shook you. And I know that if you weren't you could have closed the door around your heart, around your ideas, around your energy to do what you do in the world, and you haven't. So that is powerful.
Great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I think that that's really true, and that because I really don't have that shadow of codependence in the SQ because of how I was raised with some freedom. I think that made a big difference.
And the last thing I would say, because you kind of asked about the human design, so the mountain is your ally, right? So whenever it feels that, whenever the past kind of visits you, whenever there's too many courses that you're doing, too many things are moving, you want to come back to that 52, to like feeling that stillness in every cell, feeling that kind of aliveness and bliss at the same time, like feeling the energy in the earth energy in the cells. Because when we look at your chart, we can see that your head and your ajna are disconnected from the rest of your triple split. No, you're a split. So it's just important to come down into the body, come down into the mountain, come in, like being aware of embodying every cell. So anytime that you bring in something into your life as a 4-6, as a 6 line body, it's to bring it into every single cell. So anything that you bring in, it's to, know it, feel it, visit it, create it, and kind of just see the geometries happening in every cell. And that's the way of embodiment for the 6 line and for the core stability.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, and it's really going to benefit you to come down into the definition, into the body, so that you can feel into your authority. I was talking about the 41 and speaking about how you have all these channels that connect you to the other centers. But the 41 inherently is going to want to look for the 30, which you're going to find in your clients. They're going to have a desire to to look a certain way, to be a certain way, they're going to have their preference. They're going to have what they wish that you would bring out of them, right? There is a purpose. And I saw that your EQ is the 21.5, which if you're an emotional authority, we've got control, authority, valor. In what ways are you controlling your own emotional wave where maybe you think that you don't have any fantasies because actually you're not going there to feel the fantasy. You're not going there to see it because maybe you feel guilty for having it. Like, oh, I wish I was on a beach somewhere without my husband. Or maybe I want to have kids and then my husband didn't want to have kids. Like there is something maybe that you control that you don't want to go there. And it's such a pattern that you've already developed that you're not aware of it. And maybe in a way, if you were emotional, you've noticed that, shoot, my words really cut people. I shouldn't go there because I don't want to like explode on someone. So let's keep our emotional, let's compartmentalize. Let's keep this over here. Let's not express it. So I'm wondering, in what ways do you find that creative outlet so that those bigger emotions that you are here to feel and experience can come through you versus your clients bringing them to show you, here's what I'm showing you, and we're in resonance because maybe this is something you want to experience too, because your 35.1 has a hunger for something, right? You are here to go on that adventure. The 41 and the 35 work together. And this is in the 10th house, which is also where your 12.2, your pearl is. It's the house of career. It's your business. It is that. It's the same as where your MC is. And so I think you are here to create adventures, not only for yourself, but obviously for your clients. So like, what adventure are you taking them on? Going to Hawaii to get a photo shoot is an adventure, right? Some people are going to fly there. Yes, I want that experience. I want to feel that. I want to be in the water. I want to have a photo shoot in the water. I want to be on the sand. I want to be on a mountain. I want to be near the volcano, wherever they want to be. And there's something very feminine about those, some of those codes that come from Hawaii. And so it's a hot spot. And so what is being channeled through there? Why did you pick that? What is boiling up in you that is coming, that is wanting to be expressed, that is wanting to come through? And so I'd also explore that EQ because that's also holding a key. They're both fifth lines. They're masters of this plane, which also means you're master of controlling the environment so that you're not touched. And also so that people can't see through that part of you that is still doesn't have it together. Because there's a perfectionism in the 12 as well. It wants to be seen a certain way. And if you're seen as flawed, and that 18, also your evolution, it's also a perfectionist. It's like flaws, don't show, no. And you're also going to be sensitive to, don't worry, I'm not going to make you look bad as I'm taking your picture. I'm going to find your good side, but also don't hide your bad side from the world. You also want to see it. So all the things you're doing in photography are also the strategies as humans we do. So how can we make sure that we're seeing ourselves, that you're seeing yourself, and you're not controlling the emotional realm and avoiding the feeling that you've always wished you felt, because it may not be a pretty feeling. It may not be a beautiful feeling, but that attraction in the 25.6, it don't care what feeling it is. It walks in innocence and says, oh, anger? Wow, okay, I'm gonna experience this. It may be different than I've experienced it before. That person sending anger my way, that didn't feel really great, but maybe anger in me is okay. Maybe it's safe to experience anger. So that's something that I would explore is what new emotion maybe wants to come through and how am I controlling this range that I have in me? Does that make sense?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah. And my other business that I started is called Soul Light Experiences because my passion is really trying to find a way to create experiences for people so that they can experience their soul and their energy themselves so they can take them into that experience. Because you can talk about it all day, but unless someone has the experience for themselves, it doesn't resonate with them. It doesn't spark transformation.
Right. So good. And you have the 35-30, you have the whole channel of transitoriness. So you're here to cultivate and create these new experiences. So I can see how why you're doing what you're doing. Also with the 14 and the 8 in the nodal environment, the 8 is about style. Second line, I see who you are. I see who you truly are. Let's bring that out. Let's bring that light out. Let's bring the diamond out. Like, you're here to attract the fractal people that are here to be like, even the ones that are in denial or don't know. Remember, that second line can also be in denial. I don't know what my style is. I don't know how I'm supposed to stand. Don't worry, I see it. You're also open in the identity center. I see it. I know you. I feel you. I feel your soul. I'm gonna bring it out.
Wow, you guys are amazing.
You're amazing. It's you.
Amazing.
I mean, we're just reading you. You do this too in a different way, right? In photography.
Yeah, this is incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You warmed up, Bella. We're good. Are you happy? We're delivering? Are we delivering, Bella? Sorry that we were late, everyone. It was my fault. I'm the problem. I'm a 5-1. I'm the problem. It's me. Let's move on to Angelica. So, hi, Angelica. Angelica is a 1-3 emotional manifester. So she's the right angle cross of rulership. And today we're going to be looking at the prophet archetype for her. So we are not going to find it in her gene key profile because it's her conscious moon. So you're going to see it show up here. We have the gene key profile over here just so that I don't know, gene keys is a really great visual, especially as we're looking through these pathways. So you're going to see that 12.5 is going to be the conscious moon. And again, we're going to see it here. And yet another person that has this whole channel, 1222. So this is an individual expressive type energy channel. We are taking that defined emotional center, we're processing it, we're moving it through us, and we're creating with it. It's a creative expression. Anytime that the 22 feels like it's in the mood to share, the gate of caution becomes the gate of, okay, here we go. We're going to be open and let's express this. Sometimes it can bubble over. Sometimes you can't even hide what you're feeling on the inside. The reason the gate of caution is here is also because whatever's happening emotionally will come out in the tone of your voice. You could be saying something and it could be in a very respectful, professional, nice way, but you can't hide the tone of your voice. The tone of your voice is coming and channeling that emotional energy up and it's being expressed. So you can see that again, you also have a very defined throat, just like Tracy has. So there's a lot of definition here. It is, however, the 1222 that brings all the energy in your system to your throat. You can see you're a very open person, right? Not a lot of definition. We're moving from that root energy with provocation, liberation, liberating the spirit, whatever that spirit is, emotional spirit, highs, lows, whatever. And it's going through the 22, which has highs and lows as it is. Let's see where your 22 is. It's your evolution sphere. Struggle with that a bit. First line, repression. I don't know how well you're channeling that emotional energy, but it's there. And you're here to create with it. First line, creator energy. You're here to create with it, transmute with it. You may not have all the pieces of the puzzle, but once they come, it makes sense. You're like, all right, I have the whole puzzle piece here. I have the whole puzzle together. I understand. But you have to keep moving that emotional energy, keep expressing, keep creating. So, yeah. I'm gonna pass it over to you, Bella, so you can bring any pertinent information from the intake form. And then my question to you would be, what is your creative outlet? How do you express your emotions? So yeah, Bella, do you want to come in and then maybe Angelica, you can think about that. How do I express my emotions creatively?
Yeah, so Angelica, she's in her 30s and she's speaking about the 12, which is the moon, like you said. And a lot of it has to do with how to be more creative and fearless in her voice. And that's actually what you were pointing to as well. So finding that direction, finding that voice, being more fearless, being able to bring that out into the world. And right now you're not working, so you have space and time basically, but it's more about tuning in and finding it. And you don't have children for the moment either. So it seems like there is like a blank canvas that you can paint with. And we also see you have quite a lot of white open centers. So you're filtering a lot of energy. There is a lot of input. And how then, what about the output? And you are speaking about that 12, which is the gate of caution. We could see in the previous profile that Tracy has found a way to express her creativity and her genius, and that sometimes she needs to be a little bit maybe more cautious before she jumps into something and say, I'm going to take all these courses and do all these things. And it's okay to start and not always finish. So a certain caution, yes, that is okay for you. Everything in your chart speaks, to me at least, as you being somebody very expressive and somebody empowered. A 1-3 profile go from insecurity to self-empowerment through a lot of trial and error, but everything you do is one more experience that leads to knowing what works and what doesn't work. And you have your ascendant in gate 8, which is about unique style, which is about your own groundedness. It's a Taurus energy on the cusp of Gemini. So you are here to be very expressive. You are here to be empowered. However, with all that filtering, especially in the G center and the ego center, I feel like you might not really know yet, who am I and what am I here to prove? Well, you're not here to prove anything, and you're actually not here to have a fixed identity either. Because of those centers being open, you have many adventures, there are many love stories, some of them are complicated like you're writing about, and some of them are amazing. And it's all for you with that G center to just trust your inner guidance, trust your inner guidance, trust your inner guidance. And with the open ego, like I said, you have nothing to prove, but you're here to play with many different things, and you're here to have intentions with many different things. It's important that you follow your inner authority before you say yes to things. Your inner authority is emotional. I believe that you're an artist. You have that whole stream from the 39, the 55, the 22, and the 12. This is the artist that allows spirit to move through. So in your case, having, I would say, a spiritual practice almost sounds a little bit boring with the potential that you have. When I speak about a spiritual practice, it's a practice that allows spirit to play and move through you. You are here to be the heroine of your own movie. That 35 is your South Node. So it can be that maybe you have been in other lifetimes where your soul has been in a plot that wasn't even chosen by itself, where you maybe didn't feel completely self-empowered. I believe that here in this lifetime, it is a lot about the versatility of that open or undefined G center. The inner guidance is here to guide what kind of heroine you are here to play out, and how you are going to set up your life to be the main character in your own movie. To me, I believe that it has a lot to do with actually you consciously knowing what it is that you want to bring out. And then in your chart, you have the 12 and you have the 57 that are both going to kind of say, be cautious. If it's a little bit like outside the comfort zone, you don't know if you want to go there. The 57 is both your Jupiter and your EQ. And I also think that there is something, I think you have the 4 a couple of times as well, where you feel like it needs to make sense logically. If I can't understand it, I think you have your Chiron there, right? Yeah, the Chiron as well. If I don't have clarity, if I don't understand, if it doesn't make logical sense, then I can't go for it. No, you are an emotional, spiritual artist. You're here to create your own adventure, be in your own movie. Depending of who you tune in within your life, there's going to be many different kinds of adventures. So for me, when I see you as a 1-3, you want to discern the people where you feel there's a win-win. So if love is very complicated, well, maybe it's because there is somebody where there's going to be more win-win. Don't trust the unease. Trust the artist in you. Trust the voice that wants to come through. And then I believe that you're going to have to move through some of that insecurity, unease, to actually become fearless. It's also partly a choice to be fearless. It's not necessarily something that we have like a remedy. It's also just saying, okay, my intuition tells me that this is the way, my inner guidance, 7 and 57, I'm going to go. And I'll go through the kind of see that as fog, the unease and a bit of the caution, see that as fog. Okay, thank you for allowing me to know, to be careful. I'm still going to go here. And then last thing, yes, also the 18 is going to say, you're not ready, it's not perfect. They're going to mirror back to you like 18.2 in your culture. It's not perfect, then don't go. That's a lie. You don't have to understand it logically. It doesn't have to be perfect. And to feel a little bit nervousness, that is kind of stage fright. That is good. It's excitement that you're going to go and you're going to become the artist, that uniqueness that you have in your ascendant, Jinky 8. It's time for that. The world wants you to be unique and to be out there. You have nothing to prove. It's just you, your life force, your soul, your spirit that want to co-create the new plot that is a very versatile person that is here to contribute so that we can be inspired, 1-3, to also feel our spirit and our expression. So Jinky 12, 22, 55, and 39 are your best allies in what is it that wants to be expressed through you, or how does it want to be expressed through you.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, no, we can.
Oh, hi. Oh, that's good. Yeah. Thank you. I'm just really confused because like I've been having like all these like inner transformations and stuff, and I really don't know how to start and like how to channel them. And I've barely been sleeping. So it's kind of like a chaotic moment for me, and I'm trying to like channel it into fruition. I'm not sure how to do that, but I'm learning. Yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna let Ashley come in because she has some similar activations as well. But the good thing is that you have space in your life, it seems like, because it's more like the how and where do I start than anything else. And let's see if we can unpack that a little bit more.
Okay.
What is your desire? What are you trying to move towards? Like, I think I need more clarity on that.
Um, I've been looking really into like the path of the priestess and the mystic and just how to be more embodied. Yeah, because I spend like having a very like mental, emotional person, and I have a lot of like, fears and like traumas and stuff, and I'm trying to like be like who I'm meant to be,
Right.
embrace all that I am. Yeah.
Um, are you able to turn your camera around so that we can see you, or
All right, I'm trying. Like,
there you go. Yeah.
can you see me?
Oh, no, I see your room and then it turns around to you. Yep, there. You're here
Oh,
now.
okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
That's okay. That's okay. I I hear you about the priestess path as well, and I'm also feeling into your 12.5, which is like what you kind of wanted a little like more clarity on as well as that prophet archetype. It is sitting in your moon, which inherently is a very emotional center as well. And I'm not sure how your mom spoke to you or treated you, if she was really harsh with her words. Yeah, exactly. So
She could be sometimes, yeah.
right. You're very sensitive to the tone of other people's voice, and also the tone of your voice. We can read a lot from it. I know that as I'm listening to you, as I'm speaking to you, I can feel I can feel the emotional wave. I can feel the sadness inside of you. I can feel the
Yeah.
even this like not like there is an emotion that wants to come through. I mean, and I know that it's easy to compartmentalize it, especially as a 1-1-3, that first line that you have in the 22. It's easy to repress and compartmentalize it, but there's something that your emotional realm is wanting to guide you towards and to speak to you about, because the EQ that you have, you can see your EQ is 57. Your pearl is 57. There is an intuition in that you are accessing from your emotional realm. So if you shut it off, you're shutting off your creativity, you're shutting off your direction, you're shutting off your path. Your GPS is your emotions. So it's important for you to understand how to read them and also not hold them back. And I can feel the holding back from you, especially because the moon is emotional inherently. And then you've got the gate of caution there. So I'm not sure if there is a complete flow of that emotional energy. It feels like you stop it a little bit. It's like pushed down or stopped up a little bit. And I'm not entirely sure where the what's it called? Where the conditioning came from. But when we talk about the moon, we also talk about reclaiming your moon, because it's how you wished that you would have been nurtured. And it's also how maybe you were nurtured as a child. So I'm not sure what your mom said mattered, how she said it mattered, whether she said it in a way that cut you, or whether she said it in a way that empowered you. It's important for you to find and access the purity of your soul and the priestess inside of you from within you, and not from the projections that may be coming outside of you. So what other people say or project onto you isn't always necessarily the truth. And I think that's what your 4.4 in your vocation sphere is also looking for. It's saying, what is the truth? Because it's seeking that. It's looking for the 63. It's piecing together some of the stuff that you have. Your 47 is a really good, it puts together the pieces of the puzzle, but it wants to know why. Like, why did this happen? What is this for? What is the truth? Who am I? And in like, who are my people? I think if you were around the right people, you also have the 45 as your radiance. It's like the goodwill, it's gathering together. So it's like, it matters who you're around. And as a 1-3, it's easy for you to bring yourself into aloneness and be like, it's easier to just be alone. It's easier to just be in with myself. But you have to ask yourself, where are the win-wins? Because you do want to gather with others. You want to have different dynamic like experiences with other people. And I think that's the only way that you're going to also truly understand who you are, because you're going to need to sample yourself in interaction with other people, because you're going to be different in every single different interaction. You're going to be different with us than you are with your best friend, than you are with a partner, than you are with your mother. Like, you're going to become different in different situations. So it's important for you to kind of collect the pieces and be like, all right, who am I here? Who am I here? And when we're dealing with some of, the fifth lines, especially in the 12.5, there is, you could essentially 18.2 hide yourself around, hide parts of you around different people, be like, oh, that one's not accepted, let me just be like this. So it's easy to kind of figure out, like, who do I need to be in this situation? And that's adaptability, and that's a really great quality. However, you don't want to separate yourself, because on the priestess path, we're here to whole ourselves, and you're here to like reign in your sovereignty. But to be sovereign is to be whole in every moment. And so I think your 4.4 is also looking to, understand, like, who's the totality of me? Who am I? What is the truth of me? And so to do that, we also need to understand, how do I need to nourish and nurture myself? Right? You need to, so I think that the portal for you is in the emotional realm, to really learn how to ride your wave, and also get it to the throat in a way that it can be expressed in a healthy way, like having an outlet. So before Bella came in, I asked you, like, how do you channel your creativity? How do you channel your emotions? So how are you an artist? I'd love to hear your response to that.
Well, like, I'm mostly working on my like spirituality. I'm really into meditating and stuff. And I'm also like really into like shamanic journeying too, and taking inner journeys. That's kind of how I express myself. Yeah. I have a very vivid imagination. And I feel like I'm connected to like something divine, I guess, that can kind of channel through me. Yeah.
Right. So I think some of the things that you're plugging into and experiencing in your journeys are also going to help you understand part of you, because you're entering the mystery. I know that you do have the 61, which is asking those why questions and seeking to know the truth, not just a truth. It's like, what is the truth? That's going to really, and that's Uranus. It's going to be surprising. It's going to shock you, spark you, and you're going to be like, well, I didn't expect to see that. Okay, here we go. You're going to need to dig. Your first line, dig in the details, dig. I'm seeing that you and Tracy also have resonance because of your 30 hooked to her 41. Your first line, you got all the details. She's like, I need the details. I don't know if you guys are all on the same call together. There's resonance with the fractal somehow. So I'm wondering if at the end of this, we just put you guys together and be like, how do we fit into the puzzle of each other? Because you guys probably can pass back and forth different skills. You're like, I don't like doing this, but I love doing this. So let's do things together.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I look at things, is like, it's not a coincidence that you all ended up on the call together. A lot of you have similar birthdays. The 12 just keeps showing up. It's in transit right now. Whether you guys planned it or not, you're here for the 12. You're like all here for the 12. The 12-15 cusp. You need to access your wild woman, all of you, accessing the wild woman, getting into, like, in order for you to know the wholeness of you, you got to get into the extreme of you. Who are you at your edge this way and your edge that way? And then you get to decide, I'm going to be like this right now. But you kind of need to know all parts of you. And like the 12 is a little bit more cautious and trepidatious. Like, I don't know, because it's also a perfectionist, just like the 18, which you and Tracy have. It's going to be like, how much weird can I be? How much more can I be? How much more of myself can I be? And so exploring all of that. And obviously the gate of caution is going to be like, I don't really want to share that right now. And it's okay if it doesn't. It doesn't need to. You get to decide who you share it with, when you share it with it, and if it's just you. Hope is that you're sharing all of yourself with you in your aloneness.
Yeah.
And that you know you better than anyone else knows you. Because if you know you better than anyone else knows you, then it really doesn't matter what projections that they put on you. Projections of perfection, or whatever they're saying about you, really doesn't matter, because you sense it, and you're going to sense it, in this pressure, in this emotional realm, in your expression. Like Bella said, you may not know who you are or what your worth is, or like that you need to compare and compete, and that you don't know when enough is enough, or like how to use the energy you have, or you have, a limited amount of sacral energy, or that maybe you don't know when to put things down, and you don't know what is good for, like, you may stay in things longer than is healthy for you. That's all open center stuff. But if you can ground into your definition, you're going to be in tune with your body. Your body's going to tell you, oh, there's something coming up. Something is liberating. Let me feel into what's here. The spirit of what? That's what I was saying in the beginning. Liberating the spirit of what? And your 22 needs to feel that in its totality, no matter how big it is. You may feel like, I feel like a freaking manic person. I feel like I'm bipolar, because one way I'm like this, and it's okay if you're like that. It is literally okay. And I think that some of because my husband also has the 22.1, and my mom is born around your time, so I know how easy it is to just be like, wow, that's a little bit too much, like that's too much of an emotion. And so, or even catering to other people's emotions aside from your own. But you really need to put yourself first.
Yeah. My emotions swing very wildly a lot of the time, so it's kind of hard to like keep my center. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to learn.
Right. And your emotions, remember I said your emotions are that GPS for you. So first you got to know how to get on the surfboard and ride it. So I think you're just learning. You're just learning how to ride it, and really accepting that whatever is present is perfect. Okay, I'm feeling this, and then accepting it in its totality. And I think the struggle is some people get really uncomfortable when people have really big emotions, and then you feel like you need to little yourself so then they can feel more comfortable around you. But really, it's like, you don't need to fix me. I don't need to be changed. Like, it's okay. I feel okay in my emotion. Thank you for noticing that I am this way, but I don't need you to match me, blueprint me, show me. I know I am angry. I know I am sad. I know I am this, but I don't need you to be angry, sad. I don't need you to come to where I'm at. I just, like, maybe you also knowing this is what I need. I need space. I need time. I need to go take a bath. And then they're okay. The people around you are okay. But I'm sure you probably noticed that people probably, if you are in your bigness, like everybody's like wanting to fix it, or you're wanting to fix it. That fifth line is fixer energy. So I just say, let the emotions be, and just see how they want to express in a conscious way, because you are on the spiritual path. We're doing it in a conscious way. We're not throwing emotions at people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have just one more thing. I mean, I think that there is something for you. There's a reclamation with the inner child. You have a lot of fourth line and second lines in your Venus sequence. So that's kind of kindness, meanness. Was the world a kind place? Probably you have many experiences from your childhood where the world wasn't a kind place, where you didn't really see eye to eye with somebody was speaking to you from upside, or maybe, like that. It wasn't that reciprocity. So for sure, a longer reading, or like a deeper exploration for yourself with the Venus sequence is going to be really powerful. I see a seriousness that is connected to that sadness. You have Saturn in your 10th house, and that's partly also where you make money and where you become an authority. So it's something that takes a bit of time for you. It's also a little bit hard because I think that you are not appreciating the Aquarius. So that's also similar to speaking with Tracy before. She also has Aquarius in her vocation, which is part of what she's doing in the world. Well, you have Aquarius in the 10th house, and you have the 30th gene key, which is about seriousness in one of the keynotes, in the repressive keynotes. So I think that you sometimes become a little bit too serious connected to that 18, saying it kind of has to be really good. Probably already the spirit, the emotion, the artistry that comes out, you feel like emotions are pulling you out of center. But some of the most beautiful love songs, some of the most like activating poetry has been written by people that were really off center. So there is something where your off-centeredness is part of your genius, and I feel where people are going to be inspired and maybe even empowered because they're like, I'm not alone. So you could be that person, like when you felt like the world was a cold place, that nobody saw eye to eye with you, like even bring that inner child and that being up and speak to that. So many people are going to be able to feel with that in themselves, so that there is an activation, just again, in a liberation of spirit, which is partly what you're here. So I would want to bring everything that ever happened to you as part of your expression, and knowing that it's going to take a little bit of time with that retrograde Saturn in the 10th house. You're actually going to be an authority for weirdness. Aquarius is weird. And that is okay. And that is also where I believe that your intimacy and your relation, because the 30 is both your Saturn and it's also your attraction sphere. So it's your design moon. So those two go hand in hand. Like when you also dare to kind of live out that weirdness and that romance, because that's what you feel in your heart, in your life. Like what now feels kind of with fear and frigidity is going to start to be able to be your desire and lightness and romance. And you're here to be a bit of you're not like everybody else. Absolutely not. And that again, I go back to speaking about your ascendant. You're here to be a weird animal with your unique style. And that is your contribution, gate 8, to the world. So the more you can just say, I am expressing, it's not necessarily, I think that there's parts of you that says off center is wrong, but off center also has something unique, creative, and genius about it. So as long as you're not hurting yourself or anybody else, the off center, that being able to feel so strongly, is also an asset that makes life rich.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's just what I need to hear.
Yeah. And that is 47. You're here to transmute the karma that you have felt on your own skin, but it's a karma that is collective. But you're here to be empowered, first line of the 47, through the transmutation of that karma, and that's where you have to dare at the for a first place to be yourself, to be that unique, weird individual that we all are, and many of us, like you, we don't really know how to start expressing it. But starting, even when it's a little bit uncomfortable, it's okay. You're gonna find other people that are weird in other ways, and together, you can become allies in something that's more healthy than to hold yourself back, because that's never the solution, to hold yourself back, because there's going to be too much pressure for you. There's so much that wants to be expressed. So when you hold all that in, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for letting us dig in a little bit.
No problem. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, well, let's move forward. Here's our next chart reading. We've got Katherine. She's a 4-6 emotional generator, riding across a rulership. Here we go. Around the same birthday, right? Our last one was a 1-3. Katherine is a 4-6. We're going to be looking at her vocation sphere. So her unconscious Mars, 52.4. We also saw the 52 in Tracy's chart as well. So we've got the mountain coming up again. This is in an undefined root, meaning the pressure that you're feeling, Katherine, comes from the outside. And can you hold that mountain pose regardless of what kind of stress and pressure you're experiencing that is coming from the outside? And obviously it's looking for the 9. It's looking for the mountaineer to be able to get it that definition, to be able to bring that energy, have a channel for that energy. You also might move energy with the 39 as well, moving to gates that might give you access to definition in the root. So there's a lot of potential and opportunities to have definition in the root, but in your aloneness, you are dealing with the stress and the pressure that is coming in externally. And we can also see that actually I'm going to pass it over to you, Bella, to kind of dig into the intake form, but I just wanted to show the mountain where it was, and then let's get some direction.
Yeah, I'm also looking at many of the keys that are coming back. The 18 we just looked at, and then the 52, and then we have the same cross that we were just looking at. So birthday only a few days apart. So there's definitely a synergy in everybody that booked for today. So we are speaking here about let's see. But where is the 45? Because it starts with the 45 is still a mystery to me, and I'm like, where is the 45? Okay, but the 45 is the radiance. Yes. Synergy feels much lighter and less mysterious, but still confusing. And the shadow, of course, of dominance is powerful shadow. And then 57 is one of the core goals in life, like the balance between activity and passivity. And here, I feel also that there's a lot of movement here, similar like we saw with Tracy, and you're working with mind-body medicine, with body talk and transformations, of course, as well in people's life. So all of you are here to inspire transformation in others in different ways. And then you have a boyfriend of 19 years, no kids either. And you are also saying that you do have a lot of space from in that relationship, a lot of freedom and space, so that you can work and you can spend time with friends. And yeah, so also we have that theme too of having the space for creativity. I mean, if we go back to the cross of rulership, this is a cross that's here to say yes to the 47, which is a transmutation of karma, and through that saying yes, you're going to rule the world. But if you don't say yes to that, if you're trying to run away from the karma, then, and the karma again, it's not personal, it's actually collective, then it's going to feel unstable. Here we have another emotional authority with a lot of different activations in the emotional center. 22, dishonor, weakness, conflict, victimization are living and are going to be part of the things that you're going to feel in your life. And you have 2 connections from that emotional center. One that is your defined ego. So you actually are somebody to say, I'm determined to do that. I'm gonna become this transformational body worker. And if you feel that and you have the energy, then do it. You are not somebody that is here to work under somebody else for several reasons. Like you're saying to us that you need space to do your thing. You have a lot of pressure in your chart. And I think that at this age, you're able to know what's you and what's not you. But somebody young with this chart, a 4-6, would be in the first 30 years in a trial and error process. You would have the root pressure, the pressure to finish things because you feel all the stress in the world, the pressure from the head, everything that psychosis, the confusion, the doubt out into the world. And then you have an undefined throat with a lot of definition or a lot of activations in it. So people could use you as spokesperson for almost anything and they would make money on you. And thank God that you're past that phase. You're here, like all of us are here, to be home and anchored in your definition. You have 4 centers that are defined. And I feel when I see the keeper of the keys, the 14-2, that you are anchored in the regeneration, not only of your own life force, but other people's life force. You're asking the body, okay, the life force, what do you want to tell us? What's the story here? So you're helping others. And I see when I look at your chart, so you have the whole channel in red. So it's your Saturn and it is your Neptune in red. And then the 14 is the Neptune on the other side. Yes. So these are not closer planets. Almost like there is a buzz sound in the background of your life. That's just that generator that goes from the sacral to the G. Knowing how you use your resources, knowing where you're going, showing the way. And thank God that you have a person in your life, a boyfriend, that is allowing you to do that. Because that could be that could be really, really like really a struggle if you didn't. You have your legacy, and I know I'm speaking around the actual 52. You and I have the same legacy, and we're 4 6s, and the 2 is powerful. You have the Daredevil as your legacy, as your law, as your pearl, and it's in the 3rd line. You need to be able to take existential risks, adventures on an existential plane. And I think that with your undefined splenic center, that is how you're feeling into people and how you're able to do body talk with them, because you're using that kind of existential filtering so that you can feel and speak to other people's body. But let me go back to to the actual questions of the balance. So as long as you know on an everyday basis that how you have used those keys and opened those doors and given out your energy, when you go to bed at night, if you feel satisfied, then there is a balance. In the moment that the generator goes to bed and says, I'm satisfied with today. I did a lot. I'm tired. And I'm satisfied. I know that this is my life's work. I know that there are people that are transcending, transmuting, integrating, however you want to see it, their patterns, their karma. I'm doing it. We're doing it. You know, and when in your work, there's going to be that component of intimacy. You're not working like far away from people, giving them some book they can read. Like you're working in the 59-6, like intimately with people's life force, with people's like also emotional field, because that's part of course, physical, emotional, like it's all layered. And then I think too with the 40-37 that there needs to be for you the give and take, not in the old-fashioned way of like, you know, necessarily how much they pay you for a session, but there has to be intimacy, there has to be regeneration, and there has to be a fair exchange. Otherwise, I don't think you're up for it. And that's what the 26.6 is saying in role modeling. There needs to be a fair exchange. If I feel like I'm depleted, I don't want to do this anymore. So that's where you could, if you were in the shadow with the EQ 40.1 and the 26.6, you could have depleted yourself because of all the pressure of what you're actually able to do. You're a priestess and you're here to speak through the body and the heart, and you are a healer and you could heal the world. However, if you're not home in your sacral, in your G, in your ego, in your emotional center, you could completely deplete yourself. And then you wouldn't be able to live out the adventure of your life. The heroine that we spoke about before, she's adventurous in a different way than the 28. The 28 needs to feel a bit like it's on the edge of life. So your Venus and your Jupiter, they are the benefics. If you don't feel that you are on purpose, if you don't feel that existential thrill of totality, even immortality at times, if you don't feel that purpose, then you are going to go to bed feeling frustrated and feel like this is not the exchange that I want to be part of in the world. So to me, your 28 is definitely the one that you want to check in with a lot to see, am I like, does it feel like totality? Does it feel like I'm on the edge? Does it feel like I'm going deeper and true transformation is happening? That seems super important to check in with in order for you to feel that inner stillness of the 52. You're not going to be able to feel the inner stillness if you don't feel that you're on the purpose of transformation in the outer world. And having that 28 in the 7th house, it's a transformation that happens with the other as well. So that's the intimacy with whoever you work with. There is an intimacy, whether that's for a session or for a longer period of time. That is the intimacy where you see the transformation, and that allows you to have a sense of stillness of the heart, that you are, using the keys the way that you came here to use them.
Do you want to respond, Katherine?
Yeah, I really see a lot of that, and I see a lot of myself in what you were describing about the emotions and whatnot, because those early years, I did struggle with the bipolar disorder for about 10 years, and I am on the other end of it, which is lovely, and really feel very centered and whole in that. And that consciousness, like when I'm at that nighttime, when I feel satisfied, I need to allow that and revel in that a little bit. It sounds like, and when I am unsettled, like figure out which one of those formulas that I did throughout the day that is the client's formula, and when I'm in their time, like where is it in me? And then settle that, and then come down into a more satisfied place, knowing that I've resolved it both in them and in me, which obviously is the same thing. But yes, that existential aspect of it is really important, and I've known that, and I will continue to focus on that.
It can get really difficult as a transpersonal being. The 4th line is transpersonal, even though your cross is like the right angle cross. 6th line's transpersonal, right? It's super easy to focus on the other, but it's really good that you're making it your practice, or at least as much as you consciously can, to come back to you to be like, all right, right, what happened in them that's happening in me? How can I resolve this in me? And not, because then you're bypassing yourself and you're just resolving it in them, which is all an external fixation. Right. And I think also the 2nd line, or the 2nd gene key also, which is really defined in your chart, and it's a tantric channel, it's about direction, but it also can suffer from being the victim of external circumstances, which is where you're going to experience all that pressure of stress in the root. And that 28 that's in an undefined center, taking unfounded risks. Sometimes those risks aren't risks that you should be taking, because there's not that definition. And you only have half of this channel, which means sometimes your immune system can get compromised. You have the 26 that is connected to the T cells and connected to the immune system, but the 44 is the fractal. Do you know and recognize who's for you, who's not? That culture sphere at the 32 is probably your lifesaver. Let's cut off that which is not for me. What will we preserve? What will we let go of? Because sometimes some of your clients that come to you have nothing to do with you. So you don't need to be doing the work that you did with them, because it doesn't even relate to you. It's like, okay, that was their thing. And having the discernment and this discrimination and the precision to see, okay, this is mine, this is theirs, this is what is still a residue of mine because this came up. And just having a notepad next to you saying, wow, I felt an emotional trigger and response from this that came up. I'll write this down and come back to this later, because it's not my time, it's their time. And then you come back to it and you're like, all right, making sure that you're okay and you're whole and you're good afterwards. And that's where we're taking responsibility for the emotions that are coming up. And we're saying, I'm not rejecting you. We just have a time and place for you. And like making sure that that 4th line doesn't feel rejected. It's like, I will come back to you. This is our time. And when it is our time, we're going to have a good time together. And just soothing that inner child that also needs a little bit more patience, time, and space to really also uncover what the hell is happening, naming the thing that it is. Because in the moment, maybe you're like, I'm feeling something. I don't know what I'm feeling. I need to name it, but I don't know what it is. So let's let it sit for a little bit longer. Oh, it's this. Because the 62 is great at naming that thing. It's like, oh, that part of me, that name, that emotion. And it takes a lot to be able to master the emotional realm. So you have to, quote unquote, struggle with bipolar, because you have to go through the range. Like, of course, you're doing emotion code because you got to name all the emotions. So you've been through it. Your 22 is a blessing because it's like, here's the range. I know how to name all these emotions. Thank God you went into this field because that's what all emotional authorities need. And that's what all undefined emotionals need because we're over in the soup of all these things coming in. We're like, what the hell am I feeling? And to be able to name it is such a blessing because then you understand it and you can start to work with it. Otherwise, it's just this unknown threat that you're like, I don't know what I'm feeling. I don't even know how to handle it. I don't even know what it needs. And that's why emotion code is also really cool, is because it allows you to identify the thing and then know where the root is and then heal the root. And I think you're 26 and you're 28 are like, I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go to the depth of it. We're not gonna waste any damn time because I don't have time for this. The 26 is like, wham bam, thank you, ma'am, pay me. Not in that way, but it's like, I'm gonna do it as quick as possible because that's how we roll. Like, let's just get in there. No more of this coffee chat, no more of this chit chat. Get in there, get to the root, and let's bring it out, you know? So yeah, feels like sometimes you're like a no nonsense person. Like, let's get in there. Let's do the thing. Like, come on, let's go. I'm not here to exhaust you. We're not here to exhaust me. Like, let's just go. I see the thing. Here it is. 18 works well. 62 works well. 28 is going to dare to go there. And the 47 is going to make sense of it all and be like, here's what we're working with. This is the piece of the puzzle. Let's make sense of the past and let's move on from the past. No need to linger. We're going to feel it. And then let's move forward.
I love that. Thank you. That's beautiful and really resonates.
Yeah, that feels, I mean, that's, I'm just channeling you. This is you. We'll just plug, like, you know, you plug into your clients and it's like, let's channel this. I'm gonna plug into you. And I'm like, she's no nonsense. Let's just get on. Let's do it. Let's get on with it. Let's identify it. Yeah, that's really cool.
I have one more thing.
Sure.
And that is, we saw that with Angelica right before as well, that it's a life where it seems like some people kind of got a bigger slate than others to deal with. And the 47 is one of those keys. And that's when you're speaking to me about, you know, a decade at least, and a childhood probably too, with grappling with like the bipolar or any kind of like emotional turmoil that is there, and it's a turbine. Like when you have the 47 as your life work, I understand that could, you know, that's part of it. Then we had Angelica as the 1-3, so that third line is always in trial and error, and it's kind of the soul that is putting you in trial and error. And for you, knowing that you're for 6 or 6 line being, the 31st years is a turbine of trial and error, and then there's a 30 or 20 year kind of discernment, but there's still trial and error. And you have a third line in your moon, which is the emotional component, like Ashley was saying, where there's a trial and error. You have so much openness in your 5 open centers, and that 13 hears everything. So there is a process of stumbling and hearing and taking in, and just whatever you take in is just enough to make you overwhelmed and to make you feel like, and you being a 6 line in your SQ, a child and a body that is sensitive. So just to kind of recognize that there was a lot, but that's also what has led you now to dare to say, let's just go there. And the last thing with that I want to bring in, because this is connected to you have your life's work in the 47.4. That is a lot on your plate. And then your ascendant is the 3.3, which is trial and error in chaos. So just to know, I don't know why this is, but you have a lot on your plate. And if you have been able to turn it the way that it seemed, that you're now working with mind, body, wholeness, transformation, going to the edge, going right there with other people, you have, and similar to that chart with a 25.6 in Tracy, I think it was in the attraction, you have turned around something that was really heavy and that could have had a completely different patterns, shadow patterns in your life. You're turning that around and you're helping others. And that makes me really just look at your North Node in the 55. You're creating freedom instead of victimization with everything that you came with you and that happened in your life. And that is really exciting for me to see that that's possible.
Yeah, 29 years of banking. workaholism plus 22 years of body talk. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely. And I got rid of all that. And it's only the body talk now. Listen to the body talk is my path. And it cleared the way for that freedom, that opportunity. So thank you.
That's amazing. And I just love, like, nothing is ever not on the path. I feel like you have the direction, you're going in the direction, and you needed to be around money. You needed to be in the banking industry. You need to be doing all the things that you're doing because you also needed those codes, those things to help support you on where you're going as well. So, you know, you're 32. Let's carry with us what we've learned from this. Let's preserve this and bring it forward. It's like everything's being woven together in the tapestry, and you're like, I won't use this thread, I won't use this thing, but I'm going to use this one because this is the red thread, this is the golden thread, this is the one that really feels like it carries forward through my life. This is what I'm here to preserve, to be able to look at that every single day and be like, am I on mission? Am I on purpose? Am I like weaving? Am I continuing to weave that red thread? Oh, look at a neon orange thread came in, and that's not really part of my tapestry. I'll just pull that out. That was a mistake. It's okay. But your 18.1 is going to find it and be like, yep, we're going to pull that out. So yeah, amazing. Cool.
Yeah, so amazing. Because literally the homework I gave the client right before this was to go weeding and pull out some of those weeds that she doesn't need in her garden. And it was literally the metaphor of people in her life as well as, you know, so that works perfectly for me today. So
that's the 32. I mean, we could call, I mean, this is the guardian, but it can be the gardener. Let's weed. Let's go weed. How are we going to be the guardians or the stewards for these plants that we want to flourish if we keep letting the weeds get in? So good. Thank you.
Thanks. So grateful.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. So fun. I love this group. It's so fun.
And we're diving into even deeper of that 28 I just saw in Carrie's. So it's like, it's all perfect. It's all taking
You guys are all connected. It's so crazy. It's like, all right, bring them all together.
And the 8 is here, and the 7 is here. So Angelica's inner guidance, and
the
then
40,
Angelica's ascendance.
The 40, dang, the fractals here, baby.
And the 41 again, which was Tracy's vocation, or is Tracy's vocation, in exactly the same line as well.
You can't make it up. You guys are like so intuitive. You're like, who are my people? These are my people. Okay, we're going to get something from all the readings, because it's like getting an hour and a half reading for yourself because you're all connected. It's like, all right, here we go. So this is Karen. Karen's a 3-5 generator, right angle cross of unexpected, has the 28 as the life's work. This is the one we're going to focus on. We call it the Daredevil. The Daredevil is also connected to the Nourisher, 27. And she's grounded and rooted in the energy of the visionary and the originator. And so as a 3-5, the 31 and the 41 is very powerful in her design. The third line is where it's going to be a lot of experimentation. The 5th line is where that leadership and the power dynamics come in. It's also where the voice comes in. So there's definitely an importance of being grounded in the body, accessing the codes that are in the body, because there's a morphogenetic field that's going to connect you to leadership, and you want to access that. You want to go deep in that. You want to be able to feel into what's coming, what's in the future, and also draw upon the people that came before you that were leaders of the past, leaders of the present, leaders of the future, and to be able to move forward on that path and trajectory so that you are, you know, taking those risks that are in alignment with your purpose and calling in, you know, that warrior energy to support the 28 that has a purpose, that has the knowing, that wants to go deep, that is that Scorpio energy. You are Scorpio sun sign, right, in the 9th house, and the 9th house is like the house of like philosophy, long distance travel. It's theology, it's religion, it's all these things. So it's like, how deep will you go in this all? And let's see, the 28 is in a highly defined splenic center, and the definition comes from that 1858 channel that we also saw in Tracy. So there's an eye for detail. There is a correction, a perfection that is happening here. The pressure is to perfect. The pressure is to invent like something that's going to be also more efficient and not utilize all the energy. Like what is the most essential, the most vital here? And it's not afraid to challenge authority or challenge the status quo. It's like, what do we need to what do we need to correct here? It is the gate, of correction. And you're also not afraid to go deep. There's a depth in the 48 because it is the well. And so we're also working with that energy. Yeah. Looks like you're split as well. So we have that channel of leadership with the 31 and the 7, but you're a sacral generator. Sacral is your authority. And so a sacral splenic, actually, so intuition's important for you. We want to be grounded into this and not necessarily just into this leadership channel. You want to be grounded into your body, into the goings on in these 3 centers. So yeah, Bella, pass it over to you now.
Yeah, so pointing out that 28, that is your sun, your life's work, is also your north node, is also your Uranus activation, both sides. So it's very much there in your life. You are here to be a magical guiding star for others. And as everybody that's here today, there is quite a lot to integrate, liberate, activate in your chart in order for that to happen. But there is this harmony and this embodiment of Scorpion transformation that is both what your soul wants to go towards and it's kind of a role here in this lifetime. So that is a powerful conjunction with the North Node and the Sun that you have. You have a lot of Scorpio in your chart. You have your Mars, the 44.6, which is your kind of way of penetrating the world. You penetrate the world also through that scorpionic karmic cleanser, we could say, because that's what the 44 does. It goes in and out of groups of people, and it can feel the interference and it can help to clear that out. So that is that Scorpio, what you can also become a authority for, because that's in your 10th house. And that is your North Node on the soul side. And then we also know that this kind of Daredevil archetype is a quantum aspect or quantum activation. So when you really say yes to that 28, that's also when you can have quantum leaps, because that's your Uranus on both sides. So what is the Daredevil? Well, the Daredevil, like we said, it wants to live in totality and it needs to have the courage, not physical courage. The 28 doesn't care about bungee jumps usually. It's not about a physical risk taking. It's about an existential transformative risk taking. It needs to feel like it's worth it. It needs to feel like it has a purpose. And it needs to integrate too the other side of the zodiac, which is Taurus, which is the reverence for the body, the reverence for the form, the reverence for the earth. It's that fixed earth sign that's important. What I see in your chart when I think about the wheel, you're going to have a lot in Scorpio. On the other side in Taurus, you're going to have your culture and your pearl, so your Jupiter. So that is an important axis for you, the power axis of the kind of physical, not worldly, like earth power, physical power, embodiment power in Taurus, and then the existential transformation, death and rebirth power in Scorpio. And when we look at your soul, actually in creative tension, in square to that, you have a lot of Leo. So looking at your soul side, you have the 31 in your life's work in conjunction with your Saturn. So your soul is here to bring out a powerful, fiery leadership. And what we kind of see more on the conscious side is this change maker that dares to go in and out of light and dark spaces. And you, as well as Angelica, it's very, very important to connect with your inner guidance, because that's what's going to guide you. You have your splenic sacral authority. Your splenic center can always tell you how to navigate and what's a no. Always trust that. You have the whole channel 31/7. So you're going to show a pattern for humanity. However, you're 3/5. So you're going to do that in, like I said, in some kind of magical way. And your law is Taurus. So even if you appreciate death, rebirth, probably sex and transformation somehow, it's also important on an everyday basis that you have the reverence for the body, for the earth, and from a human design perspective, from that unique style, from that unique individuality, that is your culture and your pearl, and that similar to, I think it was Tracy, you need a team from 3 to 15 people that support you. You're not here to go it alone. You're here to have many interactions. You're also here to have that support. However, the legacy when you leave, if you embody who you are with that leadership, with that courage, we're going to see somebody that leaves that aura of mastery, of power in the pearl, and of being somebody extremely unique. And last thing I'm going to say, completely open emotional center. We said to the other people to kind of trust the richness of their emotions. For you, it's more than anything to have an energetic hygiene. Water is amazing. Shaking is amazing. Anything that's movement, body movement, sound, voice, to have a way of bringing out everything that you absorb. You're going to absorb a lot of the things. This is also where you can be a complete mirror or a complete filter and nothing gets stuck in you. But I think that you have, when we look at your childhood, you probably didn't have good role models necessarily for doing that. And you might even might have been some guilt and shame going on. So it's very important for you to know that it's not your responsibility how other people feel. You have nothing to prove, and it's more important for you to have the alone time to get whatever emotional residue that you have from your work or from just walking in the world, so that you can come back into you and be in your splenic sacral authority rather than filled with emotions that are not even yours. And Ashley, I'm going to tell you just that, the life mission that Karen is feeling is to help women avoid the challenges that she has gone through as a 3-5, and to be able to embody what they truly want and to end the generational patterns. She's single. She hasn't been married. She has been engaged once, pregnant once. She has no children. And she's a little bit unsure about that coupling. And I can see with this geometry how, who is going to dare to stand by your side? Who's going to live up to that kind of risk taking? I don't know, but I can see the choice there, and not saying it's right or wrong, but I can understand that that's kind of what's going on.
Thank you, Bella. Did you want to respond, Karen?
That was beautiful, and yep, everything hit home. And I love that all of us do have similar gates. So it was like I was getting a reading when everybody else was as well. And yeah, it's everything makes so much sense in the generational patterning and everything. But the leadership it's like I know my purpose. I just need to jump into being the leader.
Right. And to do that, like I said, is to really ground into your body, because there is a leadership in your being, in your body. And we have to move through any of that unconscious sabotage, or like, I got to get out of here. We got to be committed to the purpose, committed to it. And it's like, I can't not be committed. And in that commitment, you're also nourishing yourself. And then you can come into that mission and be on purpose and be aligned and kind of flow into the right places in the right time, particularly with the right people. Because it is important for you to be around the right people. That 44.6 that you have in your EQ, that's teamwork. That is synergy. We're coming into synergy together. However, since it's sitting in your EQ and your emotional realm, we know that you have a completely open emotional center. So important to be, who are you around and how are they influencing you? Because you are absorbing them, you're taking them in, they're influencing you in one way or another. So really being able to feel into with your splenic center what tastes good and what doesn't taste good. Like you're going to be able to be like, no, that I think it's also the 48 that is very taste. It's like you can tell, like, I don't like the way this tastes. I don't like this person. It's more of a like, and you got to be in aura around people. So that 44 works really well when you're in aura. It's about sensing it with like smelling it. It's a smell. It's like pheromones. It's like knowing who your people are. And I think that also with what Bella was mentioning about how energetic hygiene is really important. You also want to be around people that also have really good energetic hygiene, because it really convolutes the situation. And we want to, like we said, figure out what's mine, what's not mine. And I think that that discernment is going to come from that 1858 that you have. It's also a discerner of frequency. You're going to be able to tell based on like your breath pattern too, and also what you feel moving in you is what's there, what needs to be corrected, what's off, what's on. And so being able to tune into your body, that so that it can tell you and lead you and communicate with you what's happening in the field, what's happening with the people. And I'm kind of curious too about with that vocation being the 64.3, confusion, imagination, illumination, and you talking about breaking some of the, ancestral curses or bonds or whatever it is, and also whatever you went through. I'm wondering, like, what specifically do you feel called towards? What did you live that you want to help people move through, that you think is your thing? You've got a handle on this. This is what I've walked through, and the people will come to you and resonate with it. So what did you walk through is, I guess, the more poignant conversation.
Yeah, so I think that that's the most difficult part of understanding that that probably is my purpose, is that I have not walked the societally conditioned life because I knew that that wasn't for me.
Mm-hmm.
And teaching, letting people know that you don't have to do all of the things that you are told you have to do in the way that you are told you have to do them is difficult for people to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So
that
yeah, the not getting
you're
married, the not having children, the not having a typical job is,
it's not
yeah,
conventional.
exactly.
Yeah, you're speaking from your defined channels. Like, you have a leadership and a direction, and you're here to educate people on, your way isn't everybody's way, but the 50 is really being clear on, what kind of rules or codes do I want to program? What is in resonance and harmony with me? And like, that's what's going to nourish me. That's what's good. And being able to take the risk to go for what nourishes you instead of the things that are like the status quo. And you have the 8 as your pearl. It's already going to be different. You're already going to be completely different from everybody else. Like, you're going to have a different style, and it's not going to be on trend. It's going to be future trend, because you're also grounded in the future. It will not be the now, it'll be the future, and people need to get on board. And you're working through, like, how do you navigate knowing that this is right for me, but it's not what's right for everybody, and I'm kind of like leading the edge. You're going to be there's like a term and I can't pull it through, but anyways, you kind of ride the edge. We'll just call you an edge rider. And you're here to like go that way, and people are going to see you as the way shower, as the, I don't know, I'm seeing like math where outlier. You're like the outlier, and people are like, look at that outlier, because they're inspired by what you're doing. And you're here to emanate you're here to emanate that. And so people are going to need to see, like, that's the direction she's going in, and she's doing her own thing, and I want to do my own thing. It may be similar to what she's doing, but she's inspiring me to do my own thing too. And so I think that it's beautiful that the 1858 is coming in here to be like, I'm not afraid to challenge authority. I'm not afraid to challenge status quo, because it's not really working for me. And so you give people the courage to challenge that too. So many people, like, I'm going on the nomadic journey, and so many people are like, I wish I could do that. I was like, why don't you? They're like, because I have a job and there's people and there's clients. I'm like, okay, but now you're in a foothold where you're like, I can't leave this. But do you value freedom, or do you value, like, what do you value? And and it's okay if what somebody values is not what you value, but at least you are living according to your law. At least you're living according to what's true and right for you. And you're not afraid to challenge the people that are trying to project onto you what needs to be, because you already feel like a really strong person. Like you're not going to take the guidance from other people when it's not like, your guidance, where you're going very powerfully, right? And like Bella was saying, you may not have had mentors and role models as a child, but you're learning how to find your own path and like go your own way. And that's what's important. And you're also have where is that 5 for you? Neptune. Yeah, that's the rhythm. There is a rhythm, and it's going to be a weird rhythm. 11th house, it's Aquarius. It's going to be a weird rhythm, right? But you're going to new lands too. Like, you're like, okay, I'm going to create a new rhythm. I'm going to create a new way. And so people can see you as a creator, and you're an innovator. Your Chiron may be in the 3. It's mutative. It's not going to be on this chart either. But other human design people do put it on the chart. But I think that 3 is also very important for you, because you are taking, like, you're mutating the program and you're saying, nope, we need new. Something new needs to come through. And we can feel like, it's going to be like, you're going to be feeling into that future newness. So not only is that Aquarius that's coming in different places in the 11th house, or any places that you have Aquarius, right? You're grounded in Aquarius energy. You're going to be bringing in that newness. And it's about finding your weird people, your weird animals, your weird friends. You're a 3-5. You're a weird animal anyways, a magical, weird animal that is here to, like, bring new things into this world. And yeah. And I think too, what's going to motivate you is the feeling is you're actually going to get, sure, I'm going to say it, you're going to get off by challenging that authority. You're going to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm going. And that turns me on. I'm going to keep going that way, because that's what drives me, right? The 58.4. I'm going to challenge that authority, because I know it's true for me. I flow that way. I'm not going to stifle my energy. And then the 40, you got all the energy to make that happen. Divine will is going to come in. When you're going off path, because you're exhausted. You're like, damn, I'm exhausted. Well, we got off track a little bit. Let's come back to realignment. So that's what I'm seeing. That's what I'm seeing in your chart.
So yes, embracing my heretic and getting into the leadership of, you don't have to do it the same. Because the world is changing. Come 2027, we're going to be all flowy and wonderful.
Right. Individual too. Like, we don't need to follow the status quo. We don't need to things are going to shift. And I feel like there's this song, I don't know what, it's like, get a little louder. I don't know. I just feel like you need to get a little louder. Get a little louder with your mission. Let more people see you. No need to hide. Yeah.
That is coming. Because yes, I've been tasting and swallowing people that I know are not my people. So in the last year, it's been like, get that out of there. And now I'm attracting in, my crazy smart weirdos. I love it.
That's right. Bring them in. Awesome. Bella, do you have anything to add to wrap?
No, I feel complete.
Yeah. This group is cool.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, this is also just a chart that looks like similar to mine, I could say. I have a split. I have exactly the same centers defined. I have the 31, 7, and then the split with those 3, spleen, sacral, and root. I have the 28, very powerful in my chart. The 7, like I said, the 44. So I can also see some of the similar choices in life, and that completely open emotional center. So yeah, I definitely, hearing you just also makes me think back at my own choices and why. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to, like, see how we're programmed and how we're able to embody that with magic.
Right. And then we can also validate the fact that, like, if it's true for you, then it's right for you. If you feel it, and that's why we can't, the 18 loves to judge. It's discriminating. It's feeling to what's right, what's wrong. But really, the only thing you can say is, what's my preference? What's right, what's wrong for me? But we can't say, like, oh, you don't have any kids. Oh, you don't have a partner. It's different than my life. It's like, oh, what's different? That's different. But does that make it wrong? It doesn't make it wrong. And it's for each person to discern what's right for them. And that's how we utilize, the 1858 channel in a positive way, is we can see what's off, but it's never for it to judge another person unless they're asking for it, because it's a projected channel too. We're not going to just be like, I think you need to do this. And also the defined spleens, they're only giving out a prescription that they've taken. The undefined spleens are really great at dishing out prescriptions and saying, I think you need this, because they can actually feel what the person needs in their body. You have a very good feeling of what's right for you, because you're really connected to your body when that spleen is defined, and it's defined very strongly, and the intuition's already popping off in the sacral. So
Beautiful. Thank you, ladies.
thank you. Well, Jackie, where are you at? You
I
are.
can't get enough. What can I say?
I know, right? Again, but this time we're
So
focusing
bad
on the
about being
point.
here again.
The
I
what?
felt so bad about being and initially like half this call, I'm like, shit, why are you here again? Why are you here again? You taking out somebody else's precious time. You had enough readings. And then like a part of me is like, I can't get enough. Just tell them I can't. And also when you said, well, maybe we won't be continuing to do it, so snag it up. I'm like, God damn it, I'm gonna buy every single time so that they have to do it so that it keeps going. So yeah, I'm here for the 41 and is that the third trimester?
It is.
Okay, so real quick, I realized during this call, during the duration of this call, that I have a half sister before me, and when my dad left her mom to be with my mom, and I know for a fact because he told me that when I was born there was a lot of guilt, and I was trying to like relate that to how he was not able to fully anticipate and be happy about my birth because he had so much guilt from feeling like he left another marriage and left another daughter behind. And so I feel like I and another sidebar, it all comes together. I've been chasing this Netflix Suits, and I have a TV husband right now, and it's about lawyers, and it's about winning, and this guy loves to win. And I'm thinking, well, yesterday or a couple of days ago you were talking about being a victim in the liberation call, and the other side of being a victim would be being a victor. So what does it mean for me to win? And I'm thinking about, okay, 41, I never anticipate winning. I do feel that very strongly. And I was, and then the next thing is, well, how do lawyers who have an open G center, how can they do their job? Because they have to anticipate winning. So anyway, I done ranting. It's the
Oh,
open
this
G
is
and
great. I mean, I
41.
love that you're saying this, but why are you speaking about the G center and
She means
anticipation?
this. I think she means the will. You mean the ego, the will.
Yeah,
This
I
one,
mean
right?
the will. I mean like I've been fighting a lot with my ex, and I feel my aunt's a lawyer, my dad's almost a lawyer. He tells his lawyers what to do. They don't have to do a thing; they just have to sign things. He dictates. I have this huge lawyer energy from my parents and this TV show I'm watching, and I feel like if I didn't need to prove myself, I would be such a happier woman.
Well,
If I can, I would have so much more fun.
so you know that the not self rules the world, because when it comes in the open center, it's amplified, and we're playing out an amplified energy that's not even ours, and that's what makes the world the way it is. And that's also because when we're looking at the emotional center, which in your case you have defined, but what we were saying in the chart before, all the emotional turbulence that's going on, it comes into the open emotionals and it gets amplified. So that's why we all are swimming around in an emotional soup of amplified emotional turbulence and energy. So it's, yeah, usually the people with undefined ajnas and undefined G centers become the attorneys, the lawyers that are there, and they can die for that sake that they are defending.
Oh
And
my God, they're
yeah.
motivated negatively? Is it what you're saying?
I mean, it's the not self. So it's just it's something that's conditioned from the outside. It's not sourced from the inside. The not self of the open or undefined ashna is to pretend to be certain. I am right, and I'm going to die, or I'm going to like go to the end with this cause, and
Yeah,
then the
for it.
proving point with the ego center.
Okay, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. It can be a motivation in a way, but
It's not supposed to be a
to
motivation.
the
I'm not.
detriment.
Yes, I'm just saying the way that it is. People with open
Okay.
centers are going to go into the not self, and each center has a not self. And in those two cases, it is to pretend you're certain, and it is to prove something that you don't like. You're not here to prove anything. So you're trying to be determined about something when you don't have consistent determination. So both of these are going to make really great lawyers. And if you have an open throat, then you're kind of speaking also, you're being a spokesperson for something you feel a pressure from the outside to defend and speak for. So the open centers can really kind of hook into things and become amplified and very powerful about that thing that they are focusing on or hooking on to through.
Gotcha. It's aging me. I can't do it anymore.
Just come back to us and we'll shake it out of you. You can't wait to be more shook.
Oh my God. I get hot flashes talking about this, and I don't have hot flashes yet. Okay.
The energy is just moving. I mean, I guess actually, here's what's happening. So many people have the 5818 channel. You're getting that 58. It's moving energy. All these people with the 58 activations are coming in and hooking up with that 18, and you're starting to feel the flow. There's a lot of, tantric channels that are also happening. I know one person had the 214. So honestly, this is why this call is probably super fun, and why we would probably continue, is because we're bringing in the 44, the fractals here. You guys are connecting each other, and energy is moving between you all. And it's also, moving through us as well. So with this being in your IQ in the first line, contemplation, you also need to ask yourself with the 41, this is the originator. This is about feeling forward, feeling into what's coming. Before you even go on that journey, ask yourself, should I even be concerning myself with this journey? Because the first line's going to keep thinking about it. So you got to ask yourself, okay, before I begin this adventure, is it right for me? Did it come from the not self? Like, just pause for a moment in your aloneness. And you have to be in your aloneness to even understand, because that first line needs the inner contemplation, the contemplation with the self, the aloneness. If you're influenced by other people, you might go on that journey and be influenced by all the lawyers in your family. And you're like, I don't even need to concern myself with this. Why am I wrapped up in this? Because your vocation sphere is telling you, you got to cut it. We don't need to keep going with this because it's not for me. So your 42 is coming back around saying, end it. End that journey. It's like, find a way to complete it. And I'm sure you're like, watching the shows and obsessing about it because you're probably getting close to arriving at some kind of truth or some kind of secret where you're like, enough is enough. I think you're getting to the enough is enough. I had to let my dog back in. Oh. Yeah, can you remind me the other readings we did with the archetypes, so we can just, I want to feel
totally.
into like
20.
the progression.
Yeah. Okay, so we did the 20, and then we did the 60, the magician. And then my other
35.
sidebar is my 12 is my design Saturn. I have no idea what that means, but I do have a mouth that can, words that can cut. And so the 12 is bringing that to my awareness. Like, do you really need to say that? And also kind of like listening to the podcast by Mary and you'll say that, like, okay, that's not important because I lost that train of thought. Oh, like when I'm not ready, I'm not gonna say anything. And sometimes and again with the 6, like, people might think I'm aloof. When I was small, I was really, really, really shy. But I felt like what was perceived was aloof. If I'm not really sure, I won't say it. I'll just like. So anyway, I digressed again. Sorry.
That's okay. You're just weaving.
But it was the 20, the 60, and the 41, and we're in the 12, which is my design Saturn.
Right. And we spoke about the 35. So you're and we spoke about the 42. You're really interested in your Venus sequence, it seems. The Venus sequence is really coming to the forefront. And you brought in your Saturn, which we're on the cusp of the wild woman energy, which the wild woman is the 15, which is the gate of extremes. And so then we got the 12 in the 8th house, which is Scorpio energy. So what you are going to say is really going to hurt, because it's like, let's go to the depth of it. I know where I got to go. I'm going to go here. I'm going to bring this out. Right. And so, yeah, pulling back to like really see what's present in me. And also asking like the 35 is the call to adventure. And if you're really present, you can ask yourself, do I need to continue? Do I need to go down this route? Like you were saying, like, the 41 is wanting to feel a new feeling. If you recognize it as a similar feeling, then you're done with it. Like, Like, okay, let's process it. Let's move through it. Maybe you need to go talk to our emotion code specialist and see what emotions are kind of done and they're ready to resolve. Like 42, 42, 42 is ready to be like, right? Because then what do? You get more space. And with that space, we get to feel more deeply into what is coming, because you don't want to get convoluted with all the rest of the things that are in the field. And the 15 is really sensitive oracally. And you want to organize the field. You want to be like, all right, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that, get rid of that. I mean, we can go to that 32 that we had defined previously as well. And let's pull out the roots. Let's pull out the weeds. I think you're needing to weed as well.
Okay.
Because how can you tell what you're anticipating if there's a lot of stuff in the way? That's why it stays repressed. It's because there's too much other stuff. So that's why you got to go deep, is to see what the details is to, and you're here to create something new. So it can't be anything that is related to anyone else, because it's like the new is what's relative. The new is where you're going. So if it's connected to to something if your family's already on that journey, don't go on that journey, right? That's not for you. I mean, you're going to feel into if it has resonance, if you are here to heal something, but oftentimes too, we're here to end the cycle. So identify the cycle,
Okay.
end the cycle, and then start the new one. And that's what your mind values. That's where you need to head, is the new, the fresh, the 35.6. It's the new. It has nothing to do with the past, but we kind of need to transmute the past in order to make space to go forward in the future. So the transmutation has to happen, right? We have to see the patterns. So if they keep coming up, see them, feel into, what do I need to complete this? And then move forward. You will get that illumination. You just need that 47 to come in to help you piece together all the puzzle pieces you have. Like, you've got the 64 and the 63. I've got the 47 and the 4. We also have someone else on this call that has the 47 and the 4. So somehow there's also something activating and defining your head and ajna, because there's a bunch of people on this call who are helping give you definition to define the head and the ajna for you. So you can make sense of things and you can have the epiphanies or the illuminations that you need. That's why group calls are really cool, is because we have all these harmonics.
I see the word declutter. It keeps coming up. It's like, you can't see where you're going if your path is uncluttered up.
Right. And the 60 is a phenomenal, like, hoarder of tricks, but you want to learn new tricks. So you kind of need to empty the magician hat and be like, what's fresh?
Okay.
What's a new trick that nobody's seen? That's what you got to go. Because the 3 comes
Enough
in
with
and
the
it's like,
funny.
let's reorganize this. You're not even going to use a hat anymore. We're going to slice someone in half because we're going to bring in some of that Scorpio energy. So yeah. And I think that in order for you to really understand what you desire, which is something new, which is in the future, you got to let go of the past. The past has to be sacrificed in order to get you where you want to go in the future. And how can you even know where you're going if you're not letting go of some of the stuff? You got to let go. This is like vocation 42.6. Let it go. Let it go and the things will flow. Complete or you repeat. I'm purging my house. I got all sorts of new. You need to just like purge your house, like go on a spring cleaning frenzy and see how much energy is in all of your shit. And then you're like, okay. And then go take found and learn those meridian stretches and then pull shit out of your body. And then lighten the load.
My daughter would love you. Throw that away, Mom. Just throw it away.
Don't hoard it, Mom. Let it go. You should watch some Elsa and Anna, Frozen. Just let it go.
Yeah.
Who does Akashic record readings? We need that person on here too. You need to just see it and be like, oh, right. Okay. I don't want to repeat that. Let's just let that go. If you see it and you have, you have awareness of it, your 20 is like, oh, right. Okay. I see that. Let it go. 42. Let's partner with it. Let it go. You just got some letting go to do. It's so addictive to go in the same patterns that have been so ingrained in our family. So addictive. We're like, it's familiar. I know this. What is the 15? The 15.5? It's the dilemma of comfort. I don't like it, but I like it because I know it. But you don't really like it. So we got to let it go. We don't need to be codependent on that shit anymore. We're going to let it go. Your third line can come in and cut. You'll feel the lightness. I feel it in you. I mean, I'm just joking with you a lot of this time, but I can feel that this is part of you. Like, lighten. We gotta lighten. Oh yeah, the 30. We gotta lighten the load.
I was so fun before I had kids, but I have fun being a mom. But it's like two completely different women. And both times I feel like the guys were like, "Wait a minute, I thought I married this one. Why are you like that?" Because I'm a mom. Because we have kids.
Oh, you're just in a phase. There's a phase that she'll come back and she'll be the sage. You can't. Okay, here's another thing. You gotta mourn the maiden role. You're not a maiden anymore. And it was really fucking fun to be a maiden, but then you became a mother. And in order to get into the crone phase, which is actually where that sixth line is, you gotta let go of the maiden and you gotta fully embody in the mother. And who cares what other people say about, look at who you were. I don't care who I was. Who I was is not who I am now. I was freaking cool back then. I'm cool now. See me as the mother. I'm the mother. That's the role I'm in. I'm gonna go into the crone too. So, and when I go into that realm, you gotta mourn it. It's a threshold. And that's what the 42 is telling you right now is in order for you to go into the new, you gotta cross the threshold. But in order to cross the threshold, you need to honor it. And you need to be like, I'm not a maiden anymore. It was fun, but I'm a mother now. And then the people will stop making comments, and it's actually more you that is making the comments, and you're judging yourself because you're like, I was cooler and I was funner and I was lighter. Yeah, it is hard to be a mom because you're dealing with so many children. You don't want them to die. You're like, I got to take care of these ones. I don't want them to die. I got to take this one to tennis practice and this one to that and this one to that. And then you create all this responsibility and your 50 is freaking out because it feels all the responsibility. But is it yours? Man, there's so much letting go to do. You're freaking out. You're freaking out. And you just got to go, let it all go. Or else you're going to have a freaking nervous breakdown and then you're going to have to let it go. You'll be so wound up and in disharmony that you're just going to have a freaking freak out. You're going to have a freak out. I'm going to tell you that you're going to have a freak out. And that 15 is very happy to deliver it to you because it likes extremes. It's like, yeah, let's give her a freak out.
And that's coming.
So, and your 12 is going to be a bitch. I can tell you that much. She's gonna not be nice. Your freak out is going to include the 12, which we're in transit with, and she's not going to be nice.
Okay.
Okay.
At least I know what's coming.
No, it doesn't need to come. I say that's the path. That's the path if we don't change, and your 35 needs to change. Needs to let some stuff go. You need to say no to some of the repeat adventures.
Okay. Word.
Bella?
I believe I'm going to start with simplifying. We're looking at the 41 today, which is your Venus. And then in your chart, you have the 30, which is a harmonic gate, and you have that gate twice. You have it in your Pearl, which is your Jupiter, and I saw it one more place in your Jupiter. Where else is it? Maybe wasn't it in the other one? No, it's your Mercury. Okay, so your Mercury and your Venus are together in Aquarius, and they are connecting in Aquarius to the 41. And this is the fuel to have an experience. And this goes back to what Ashley said. It's not only about throwing out things, it's also about deciding where you're putting your fuel. So if you have a completely open will ego center and you're putting your fuel to prove something, you're actually completely using that energy against your true self, against your alignment with who you are. So I feel like you're now in the third phase. You are a 6-line being. You have been in the phase of discernment for 20 years. You have been, before that, a lot of experiences of knowing kind of what works and what doesn't work. And now it's time to say, where are you putting your fuel? The 14 is also saying, you have fuel, but where are you putting it? What way are you going with it? And looking at the 30, which is both your Pearl and your message or messaging or voice or relating sphere, the Mercury, there's a conscious, you can be conscious about what it is that you are deciding to experience. So I think there is a bit of a responsibility, where are you putting your fuel? That is very important. And you're a 4/6, you're in this third phase of your life, and you're here to show the way as a role model into the future. So if you are continuing some of the patterns that belong in the past or that belong to people in your culture, in your ancestry, somewhere in your family, something that's conditioned, you're not showing the way. And you have, similarly to what several people had in this call, the 31, which is a leadership gate that's showing the way. And with that, I'm going to go to another one that's just going to show you another view, because you have been here with us several times. So you are in your Chiron. So this is your lifeline. You're now 50, and this is your lifeline 43, 49, 58. So that what you just had last year was your Chiron return. And the overlay, your 4/6 cross of consciousness, and the overlay is the 6/2 cross, left-angled cross of uncertainty. So freedom is your radiance overlay. Your own unique style, which is Angelica's, I think it was ascendant, that is your mission. And then we have this whole thing, are you compromising the way you're using your energy, or are you actually using the true competence of who you are becoming in this third phase of life as a 4/6 cross of consciousness? Are you using that energy? Are you being a powerhouse, or are you just doing the things that you're expected to do? And really, when you ground into this earth, are you actually creating true intimacy with your son? Are you in complete transparency, even with your ex? Like, you know, like, where are you creating transparency and intimacy? If you're just using your energy fighting with your ex-husband, there might be another way. And that's exactly what we were speaking about last time. How can you give him a different role? Because what you're trying to make him be by arguing with him, it's not working. Like, how can you use that more feminine 4/6 wisdom and kind of a little bit of that, I think, also feminine magic of giving him a different role, a role where this 59, like where there can be more of a relating that works, more of relating where you see eye to eye instead of aggressing each other. And this goes with the North Node of taking care of yourself first. You are the pod, the dolphin mom of the pod. You are going to care about your little dolphins. And at the same time, with the 27, you're not here to give with both hands if you don't have enough for you. So get the compromise out of your life. Nurture yourself, get your freedom, be you, and make sure that you're kind of assigning the role. Like, even your kids, you can kind of assign roles to them too. There are things that are big enough that they can do on their own, and they can choose if they want to do Chinese or tennis or this or that. Like, there is something about that way of relating that can be, I believe, more in harmony than maybe what it is now. And that is going to allow you more freedom, more individuality, less compromise, more nurturing. And that is really what you're on for the next 8 years. You're here to role model that freedom, that uniqueness. And sometimes you're going to be like, but if I don't control, what the heck is going to happen? That is okay. Come back here every Tuesday and do a little, play with me and Ashley, and we'll decode the universe and the next steps. It's okay. It's okay. Like, freedom and uniqueness are your two keywords. Out with a compromise, in with a true competence, the true relating, the true intimacy, and the true nurturing in your life.
Thank you, Bella. Every time you talk, I feel like I can be nice. I need like a Bella like right here. And then Ashley's like my badass right here. And they're both good. Both shoulders are good.
My MC is 28.2. It's called Shaking Hands with the Devil. I could be the devil sometimes too. Bella's like, be
Sexy.
nice. Bella's not always like that though. She's like,
I mean, I wasn't really nice now either, but it's good that you can feel, like, yeah.
We did it. We did it. My God, Bella, we're not doing 5 people next time because we get really
excited. And you are not telling me that we're not doing what we're supposed to do after, because then I'm going to have a tantrum. But we can take a little break.
Wait, what? What are we doing?
I mean, we were supposed to meet like an hour ago. And you're gonna tell me.
Your house ready.
I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm anticipating.
Oh, okay.
And I'm telling it live to everyone.
We can't. I'm sorry.
I'm
about Oh my God. Okay. Can we bring everyone back on and say bye? Our little fractal that we created with Tracy, Angelica, Jackie, Karen, and Katherine. I think we're pinned though, so nobody can see everybody else. It's just us.
I think we're just pinned in the beginning, right? Of the screen.
here.
Where do I?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for being with it, because we were all on at 1 p.m. together, or Pacific time, and here we are hours later, and we still look real awesome. So
And Ash is like, don't say 20 minutes, Bella. Say 15 minutes reading. I'm like, but Ashley, it's more than 20. Just don't say that.
my 26 is like, my divine ego is like, I'm gonna promise what I promise, and some of you'll get 15 and some of you get 20, but it's got to flow, and I can't promise and then try to pull something out of me that's not there. That's not authentic. But it was easy. You guys were cool. Like, they all weaved together, so the energy kept building, and I'm like, you know what? This is how if it's like this every time, I guess I can't have expectations, but if it's like this every time, I want to do it every week, but I can't promise that, so please don't hold me accountable. I've got to define will. I'll say, no, never mind, I want to do it.
So yeah, for everyone that's here, including Jackie, if you want another reading, that's completely, it's the only rule is not 2 readings in one slot, because we're kind of still giving you double reading usually. So you can absolutely book. There are 2 more dates out there now. And if you're watching, or if you're here, if you have something else that you want to deepen, or another archetype you want to illuminate, yeah, come back and have fun with us. And maybe put 2 hours at least into your schedule, because it might be longer than 90 minutes.
Thank you, Tracy. Thank you all. This was a lot of fun. And I'm glad you were all on till the end. But if you needed to get off, totally understand. But you stayed. So thanks. Feel like we're all friends now.